He had only a month left to live. This was the final countdown for the decoy, Lu Xing. Wearing a human skin mask, he had played the role of Xiao Beimeng for years, just to die in place of this dissolute young master. Yet, in the dead of night in the courtyard, the real Xiao Beimeng took off his mask. Go, be yourself again. Everyone thought Xiao Beimeng was a caged bird waiting to marry the princess, unaware that this bird had already broken free from its cage. He was going to uncover the truth of his mother's death and demand from his father, who had never once looked him in the eye, a single word: why? In the 38th year of Tianshan, summer, the night in Tian City was as hot as a steamer, but I was cold-boned, chillingly cold. In the northernmost corner of Nanhan Manor's courtyard, the moonlight was pale. Wrapped in that heavy yellow fox fur coat, I practiced walking on stakes and punching without pause. Sweat. Don't joke. An ordinary person wearing even a belly band would be fanning themselves, but I was like a ghost crawling out of an ice cellar. The frogs croaked joyfully in the pond, as if mocking my disguise as a supreme master. If someone who didn't know the truth saw me, they would surely exclaim, "What a martial arts grandmaster, impervious to heat and cold." Grandmaster. I looked down at my pale, almost translucent palm, no chi fluctuations, meridians blocked like deadwood. I am a complete waste in martial arts. This fox fur cloak isn't about style, it's my lifeline. The cold poison inside me, like countless tiny ice serpents, gnaws at my marrow day and night. Footsteps sounded, very light, but in my ears they were like thunder. The one who entered was a young man, wearing a plain gauze shirt with his sleeves rolled up. Impatience was written all over his face. He looked exactly like me, even the curve of his brows was identical. That was Lu Xing, my shadow, my double. Also, a spare part for this life of mine. You called for me? Lu Xing's voice was indifferent, his eyes holding a kind of lifeless calm. I stopped moving and turned around, forcing a smile onto my lips. Lu Xing, after tonight, you don't need to wear the human skin mask and pretend to be me anymore. Go back to being yourself. Lu Xing froze. For the first time, cracks appeared on that face identical to mine. He clearly hadn't expected me to say that. From now on, you are Lu Xing, and I am Xiao Beimeng. We're quits. I added. Silence, a deathly silence. After a long moment, Lu Xing looked up, the calm in his eyes shattered, replaced by anger and bewilderment. Xiao Beimeng, you don't need to test me. To me, an oath is worth more than life. The princess saved my life and avenged the Lu family. In return, I will die for you. It's only right. I know I won't live to see your coming of age ceremony, and I've already accepted that. Why do you have to go to such lengths? He spoke with such righteousness, as if dying was an honor. I couldn't help but roll my eyes, then stepped in front of the courtyard gate to block him. Can you show some manners? I haven't finished speaking yet. After impersonating me for all these years, you're putting on airs now? Do you really think you're the eldest son of the Nanhan King? Lu Xing let out a cold laugh, his eyes full of mockery. The top wastrel of Tianshan, someone whose name makes the people of Tian City spit in disgust. Who would want that identity? Anyway, I won't live past next month, so what do I have to lose? Instead of getting angry, I grinned and leaned closer to him. Who are you looking down on? You've had a huge hand in my wastrel reputation. All those visits to brothels, cockfights, and dog races, weren't they all done while you were wearing my face? Lu Xing choked back his retort, snorted coldly, and turned his head away. I put away my smile, my expression turning serious. Lu Xing, you've worked hard all these years. Take off your mask quickly, pack your things, and leave Tian City under cover of darkness. Never come back. Lu Xing frowned deeply. He looked at me warily. Why? What about you? If I don't die in your place, how can you leave safely? The conflict between the royal family and the Prince of Nanhan is not something a useless man like you can escape. There aren't that many whys. Just go when I tell you to. I have my own plans. I waved my hand, pretending to be at ease. If I'd known you were this long-winded, I would have stuffed you in a sack while you were sleeping and tossed you out of the city gates. Just then, a cool figure appeared silently behind me. Mu Shuiyang. She was beautiful as a drawn ice sword. Moonlight fell upon her, casting a sacred yet distant silver glow. She was the wife of the Prince of Nanhan, the last disciple of the female, sword immortal Chu Qiandai, and the one who raised me. Sister Shuiyang, please trouble you to escort him out of Tian City. I gave her a gentle smile. Mu Shuiyang nodded and cast a glance at Lu Ziying. Lu Ziying finally believed it. A flash of ecstasy flickered in his eyes. Then he reached up and tore at his face. With a ripping sound, the human skin mask fell off. That handsome face vanished instantly, replaced by a thin, sallow, and weathered unfamiliar face, full of fatigue. TSK, TSK. The Jianzhou Lu family's disguise art truly lives up to its reputation. I touched my chin in admiration. If I could change my face too, would I still have to wear this fox fur coat to show off every day? This disguise technique requires yuan energy to perform, Mu Shuiyang coldly added. The corner of my mouth twitched. Sister Shuiyang, I know I'm a useless waste who can't cultivate yuan energy. You don't have to remind me every chance you get. It stings, you know? Lu Ziying, I should call him Lu Ziying, now bowed deeply with clasped hands, his voice trembling. Prince Xiao, your great kindness. If I ever have a chance in the future, I will repay it 100-fold. I can't even go to Nanhan. What kind of prince am I? I laughed bitterly and waved my hand. Get going now. Stop being so long-winded. If you're reluctant to give up the identity of the eldest son of the Southern Cold King, I can change my mind right now and let you keep playing the part. Prince Xiao, we'll meet again. Lu Ziying didn't dare say another word. He strode away, almost fleeing from the courtyard. Mu Shuiyang's figure flickered, and she followed closely, vanishing into the night. In the courtyard, only I and that solitary moon remained. Are you sure you want to do this? An aged voice suddenly sounded from behind me. I didn't turn around, just smiled slightly. Old two, if you've changed your mind, you can still go after Lu Ziying now. The black-clad, old man, Tu Jianqing, stepped out from the shadows. His white beard fluttered, but his eyes were like those of a proud, mischievous old child. He rolled his eyes. Such a clumsy provocation. Save it, kid. I, Tu Jianqing, am the esteemed Qingyang sword immortal. My wort is us huet us hold. But Lu Ziying knows many of your secrets. Letting him go like this isn't that a bit too merciful? It'll cause no small trouble later. I chuckled. I turned and leaned against the pillar. I, Xiao Beimeng, am unfathomable. What he knows is merely the tip of the iceberg. Besides, Lu Ziying is just like you, a fool who values owes more than his own life. He's trustworthy. Tu Jianqing's furrowed brows relaxed. He sighed. I just don't get it. The Mu royal family won't let you be the heir, and your father, Xiao Fenlai, doesn't seem to want to take you back either. You could stay in Taiyan City as the imperial son-in-law, marry the sixth princess, and enjoy endless wealth and honor. Isn't that great? Even if you don't want to be a caged bird. According to your mother's plan, have Lu Ziying die in your place. Then go into hiding with a massive fortune she left you. You could live a carefree life anywhere. But you insist on going your own way. Aren't you trouble? Aren't you stubborn? The mention of my mother made my heart clench tightly. My mother was a revered sword immortal. How could she have suddenly died of illness? My voice turned cold, and two flames ignited in my eyes. I must find out the truth. And Xiao Fenlai from my birth until now. He hasn't come to see me once, not even a single letter. I want to stand at a position where at least I can talk to him as an equal and ask him why it is so. Tu Jianqing was silent for a moment, then sighed lightly. You were born with a cold poison afflicting your body. The fact that you survived until now means he must have spent a great deal of effort on you. You should cherish your life. You cannot cultivate spirit power. You'll never become a martial arts master. To accomplish these two things is harder than reaching the heavens. Can't you just tell me the reason? I stared at him intently. I've always suspected that Tu Jianqing knows the truth. Otherwise, why would a genuine sword immortal condescend to stay in this nominal Nanhan prince's mansion for over a decade? Tu Jianqing rolled his eyes again and said testily, what could I know? Back then, your mother, Chu Qiandai, and I had a sword duel. I lost by one move. After that, I somehow ended up here, guarding you for 12 years. I was truly blinded by foolishness back then. Why did I have to agree to that sword duel? Heaven have mercy. On the 8th day of next month, I'll have completed 12 years and finally see the light of day again. See the light of day again? I couldn't help but grumble. Old two, you're going too far. You've been living it up in the mansion with fine food and drink. Every spring you lie on a recliner, soaking up the sun, with two delicate little maids kneading your legs and shoulders, and you call that suffering? You're the kind who eats the meal and then smashes the pot. Tu Jianqing's old face reddened, and he said indignantly, Xiao Beimeng, you're exaggerating. What do you mean several? There are only two. And look at them, every single one is over 40. Their arms and waists are twice as thick as mine. You call them delicate? I'd say they're more brawny than dainty. I smiled slightly. Old too, compared to your venerable age of 120 or 30, 40 is indeed not old. Calling them little maids isn't too much. TCH, what's wrong with being old? At least I'm better than some people young and wearing a fox fur in the middle of summer. I'm not bragging. Old two here is 123 this year. Every morning I can still, he puffed out his chest, looking smug. With a constitution as chilled as yours, can you handle it? My face turned red. I coughed heavily a few times, forcefully changing the subject. Last time you said that your sword duel with my mother ended in a draw. How is it that now you say you lost by one sword? Old two, knowing you as I do, I'm sure you lost by more than just one sword. Tu Jianqing's face turned even redder. He waved his hand and said, Old people get sleepy easily, can't stay up. It's late, I need to go to bed. You should rest early too. Tomorrow, Tianshan Martial Academy will release the rankings. You've made the list after all, so you should prepare a bit, shouldn't you? Before his words faded, his figure flickered and disappeared into the night. I stared at the direction he left, a cold sneer curling at the corner of my mouth. Prepare? Of course, I'll prepare. Yes, disciple bears it in mind. Lu Xiaoran nodded in satisfaction once more. Good. Now let me tell you the rules of our Jishui Peak. Yes, the rules of Jishui Peak are simple. The key lies in one word, lying low. Yin Ligay was a bit dumbfounded. Lu Xiaoran continued, speaking again. First, among all the rules of the demon sect, except for the first and third, the rest need not be followed. Yin Ligay, second, we absolutely do not actively provoke trouble. It's best not to step outside the scope of Jishui Peak, not to compete with anyone, not to casually make friends, and not to casually make enemies. Most importantly, never reveal your true cultivation level. Yin Ligay, third, if someone really provokes us in a fight is unavoidable, you must carefully assess the situation before deciding to act. The key principle is, against those of the same realm, it's best to run against those at a lower realm, kill them with a finishing move. After killing, be sure to scatter their ashes to the wind. The kill must be swift, the work clean. If you can gang up, don't fight alone. If you can run, it's better not to fight at all. Chapter 3. This master is unfathomable. Fourth, if you really encounter some huge trouble, like ancient aristocratic clans, please do not reveal your master's name or address. Yin Li Ji's face twitched violently. It took him a long while to barely digest this before he couldn't help but ask cautiously, Master, shouldn't a warrior be fearless, charging forward, cutting through mountains and bridging rivers without ever retreating? Lu Xiaoran let out a cold laugh. You've been drinking too much inspirational broth. Let me be honest with you, while most people in this world can cultivate step by step without violating the law of the jungle, that's only if they don't run into an extremely terrifying and highly unstable existence. If you encounter such a being, even a great emperor could fall. His Yunliga couldn't help but gasp sharply, his eyes wide. How could there be such a person in this world? Of course there are, and there are many. Your master collectively call them cheaters. Cheaters? That's right. A cheater could be a farm boy you look down on, a handyman by your side, or even a waste like you who can't even cultivate. They are often the most despised, enduring the world's ridicule and coldness. But in reality, they possess extraordinary luck far beyond ordinary people. Strolling through a street stall, they might uncover an ancient inheritance. Entering a tomb could lead them to an emperor's burial ground. Despite being penniless, some wealthy, beautiful woman will inexplicably fall for them and remain utterly devoted. Even if you far surpass him in strength and relentlessly pressure him, you can never kill him. In the end, you'll find his growth speed far beyond your imagination. By the time you realize it, everything is already too late. He will kill you, and then your father, mother, an entire clan will seek revenge for you, only to be annihilated by him alone. It's a classic case of when you mess with one, you mess with the whole family. Boom! Upon hearing these words, Yin Ligay's mind was struck with a violent tremor. Even his entire body couldn't help but begin to tremble. Isn't what Master described exactly what happened to him? That brat was just a nobody from a fallen family in Jiangcheng, unable even to scrape together the tuition for martial arts training. He had never taken him seriously, didn't he even know he existed in Jiangcheng at first. Yet, somehow, he rose from an insignificant nobody to become someone capable of destroying his entire vast Yun family. Not only that, but he had also won the favor of his fiancée, making a proud daughter of a noble family utterly devoted to him. No matter how hard he racked his brain, Yin Legay couldn't make sense of any of these events. He never expected that today his master would make it all clear to him. A true master, absolutely a master. He had chosen the right master. Yin Legay knelt upright, his eyes bloodshot, staring intently at Lu Xiaoran with extreme excitement. Master, you're absolutely right. Your disciple will strictly follow your rules. Without your permission, I won't take even half a step off of Jishui Peak. Lu Xiaoran nodded with great satisfaction. This disciple was quick to understand. He patted Yin Legay on the back of the head. A teachable student indeed. Since that's the case, your master can safely teach you the techniques now. Yin Legay nodded, then asked with slight confusion. But master, your disciple's meridians are completely severed. Does a master need to help restore them first? Lu Xiaoran let out a light laugh. Who says that with meridians severed, one cannot practice martial arts? The great Tao has 3,000 paths and myriad methods. Today, I will teach you a scripture, the Hunyuan Emperor Sutra. Cultivate it well, and it will lead you to a new starting point. With that, Lu Xiaoran flicked his finger and shot the Hunyuan Emperor Sutra into Yin Legay's brow. Upon receiving the Hunyuan Emperor Sutra, Yin Legay merely glanced at it and immediately widened his eyes in shock, his face full of disbelief. Oh my heavens, master, this. He was so terrified that he couldn't speak. If Lu Xiaoran had given him a heaven-ranked cultivation technique, he might have only been excited, but he wouldn't have been terrified. Yet Lu Xiaoran had actually given him an emperor-ranked cultivation technique. Was he dreaming? This was an emperor-ranked supreme technique. A peerless divine skill that could allow one to cultivate into a great emperor. Even a great emperor would covet such a rare treasure. And his master gave it to him so casually. Lu Xiaoran shot him an impatient glance and said, "Look at you, so easily rattled. It's just a mere emperor-ranked technique, and you're this excited. Take the time to cultivate properly. Your master is going to refine some pills." His Yin Legay felt his scalp tingle and all his hairs stand on end, as if waves of electric current were scraping across his skin. He was once again left speechless by Lu Xiaoran's shock. An imperial-grade technique, a rare treasure, was actually dismissed by the master as just mere. He doesn't even take imperial-grade techniques seriously. Just how powerful must he be? Too stunned, he stood frozen in place for dozens of seconds. Coming to his senses, he quickly spoke with a solemn expression. "Master, this is too precious. This is an imperial-grade technique." Lu Xiaoran waved his hand and said impatiently, "Cut the nonsense. A grown man shouldn't be as fussy as a woman. If you want to thank me, then practice this technique well, become a top expert, and make your name in history that will be the greatest repayment to me." Master, Yin Legay was moved, too overwhelmed to speak. After a moment, he steadied his resolve. "Yes, master. Rest assured, your disciple will not let you down." Seeing Yin Legay's determination, Lu Xiaoran nodded with satisfaction and then turned to leave. "Focus on your training and also take the time to build a house for yourself." Yes. After Lu Xiaoran left, Yin Legay immediately clenched his fists, feeling the majesty emanating from that imperial-level cultivation method. A flame of hope rekindled in his eyes. "Dad, Mom, do you see? Your son has become a disciple of an extraordinary master. With his guidance, I will surely achieve success in cultivation again, and then find that bastard and that bitch to wipe away my shame." Meanwhile, after returning to his room, Lu Xiaoran could no longer maintain his stern expression. His brows furrowed into a deep frown, and he couldn't help feeling a pang of heartache. An imperial-level cultivation method, and it was a top-grade imperial-level one at that. He hadn't even cultivated it himself, yet he had given away like that. It truly pained him to the point of bleeding. But there was no other way. He had already scanned the primordial imperial scripture with his mind. Its prerequisite for cultivation was to abandon all one's cultivation base, break all the meridians in the body, and then cultivate with a meridian-less body. This method was too painful. Lu Xiaoran gave up on the idea of cultivating it after just one glance. Anyway, no matter how much cultivation Yin Ligay gained, he would gain the same amount. If Yin Ligay mastered the primordial imperial scripture, he would also master it. It's just that Yin Ligay's talent is not as strong as mine, so her cultivation will be much slower. Whatever, I'll just lie back and win. With that thought, Lu Xiaoran threw the materials into the alchemy furnace and began refining pills. The path of cultivation is long. A single meditation session or pill refinement could take several days or even dozens, slipping quietly through the gaps between one's fingers. By the time Lu Xiaoran finished refining a furnace of pills, 7 days had already passed. In the furnace lay a batch of excellent qi pills, a full 50 of them, golden and dazzling to the eyes. These were Earth-grade top-tier pills, 2 grades higher than qi-gathering pills. Currently, no more than 3 people in the entire Heavenly Demon sect could refine such pills. Lu Xiaoran picked up a pill and tossed it into his mouth to taste it. Crunch, crunch, chicken flavor, crispy and crunchy. Not bad, purity reaching 100%. Sure enough, I'm a genius even without a cheat. I can still refine qi pills with perfect purity. Lu Xiaoran learned everything quickly. He mastered all the techniques of the demon sect in just half a year, thoroughly comprehending and reaching the pinnacle of proficiency. However, the highest level techniques in the demon sect were only heaven tier, so after mastering them, having nothing better to do, he spent some extra time learning side professions like alchemy, formations, and artifact refinement. After all, more skills never hurt. If there were no cheaters in this world, Lu Xiaoran was confident enough that he would definitely be the main character. After all, he had achieved everything through his own hard work, right? After consuming the vital qi pill, Lu Xiaoran circulated his spiritual energy and suddenly felt something unusual in his body. Why has my cultivation level increased so much? Cultivation methods, alchemy, artifact refinement, and setting up formations all contribute to improving one's cultivation, with cultivation methods being the fastest, while alchemy and the like are relatively slower. But Lu Xiaoran's cultivation had already reached 40% of the first layer of the Puang realm. Keep in mind, this was only 7 days, and this breakthrough speed was even faster than when he cultivated through techniques. Not to mention that in the past 7 days, I was only refining pills and didn't even cultivate my technique. So how could my cultivation have increased so much? Wait a moment. Lu Xiaoran suddenly thought after Yin Ligay accepted his disciple, he would receive corresponding cultivation from the disciple's cultivation. Could it be because of him? Wankai, your master is coming. What cultivation level has Yin Ligay reached? Generating Yin Ligay's attribute panel for the master. Soon, a glowing screen appeared in Lu Xiaoran's mind. Name, Yin Ligay. Gender, male. Technique, emploi une scripture. Current cultivation progress, first layer. Cultivation, Xiantian 10th layer, great perfection. You must be joking. Lu Xiaoran couldn't help but shout. He's already at Xiantian 10th layer, great perfection? Is there a mistake? Cultivation is as difficult as reaching the sky. How can it be as easy as drinking water for Yin Ligay? His aptitude shouldn't be better than mine, right? Moreover, the Emperor Hunyuan scripture has 10 layers in total. He's only at the first layer, which is just 1/10 of the progress. Seeming to sense Lu Xiaoran's shock and confusion, Wang Kai explained. Yin Li Gu practices an Emperor-grade supreme cultivation technique, far surpassing the technique that Master previously cultivated by several major realms. It's normal for cultivation speed to be fast at lower realms. If Master were to practice the Hunyuan Emperor scripture, a preliminary simulation would take just 1 hour to go from an ordinary person to the 10th level great perfection of the innate stage. Lu Xiaoran's face couldn't help but twitch violently. The power of cheating is truly monstrous. He himself cultivated so diligently every day with such outstanding talent, and it still took a full 2 months to reach the 10th level great perfection of the innate stage back then. Yet this guy did it in 7 days. Fortunately, it was I who granted him the cheat. Otherwise, I would absolutely go kill him right now to prevent future trouble. But this is also a good thing, because the higher Yin Li Ji's cultivation, the greater his own benefits. He looked at Yin Li Ji's attribute panel again, and suddenly noticed there were many small gift package icons below. Wankai, what are these? Reporting to Master, this is an advancement gift pack. Every time the disciple breaks through a minor realm, there is a small gift pack. Every time they break through a major realm, there's a large gift pack. Currently, Yin Ligay has advanced through the 3 major realms of body tempering, Hotian, and Xiantian, as well as 30 minor realms. In total, there are 3 large gift packs and 30 small gift packs. Lu Xiaoran was speechless again. Gift packs for both big and small advancement. This is too much. How are people who rely on their own hard work supposed to keep up? Originally, before he had Wankai, Lu Xiaoran thought he himself was a genius, favored by the heavens, and already quite unfair to ordinary martial artists. But after meeting Wankai, he finally understood what it meant to be a dog. Taking a deep breath, Lu Xiaoran opened a small gift pack. It's just a small gift pack. It should only give some small items, right? Earth grade top quality Yuan Qi Pill X100. Must be a mistake. Let me try again. Lu Xiaoran opened another small gift pack. Heaven grade ultimate technique. Thunderclap Fist X1. Lu Xiaoran. Wankai, get out here. Coming. What are your orders, master? Did you send the wrong gift pack? This is supposed to be a small one. Are you serious? A small gift pack like this, do you know it took me, the top genius of the demonic sect, 7 whole days to refine just 50 qi nourishing pills? But this is already the smallest portion I could pack for the gift set. Lu Xiaoran, small-minded. Your vision is too small. You should have just given me 100,000 years of cultivation so I could ascend and attain eternity right here. Why bother in making me take on disciples? I wish I could, but without going through this process, I can't generate rewards. Get lost. On it. Wankai vanished. Lu Xiaoran opened each small gift pack one by one, harvesting a massive haul of rare elixirs, treasures, and cultivation techniques. And the 3 big gift packs were even more outrageously generous. Top-grade Emperor-level technique. The Azure Emperor's Eternal Life Sutra. Top-grade Emperor-level formation. The 8-trigram Heaven Sealing Array. Top-grade Emperor-level formation. The Purple Firmament Divine Thunder Array. Too much. Absolutely too much. Wankai, are you sure you're not human anymore? How are the hardworking cultivators in this world supposed to cope? Oh well, there's no helping it. Beauty suffers from jealousy, and the handsome bear the burden. What can I say? I'm just lucky. Guess I'll reluctantly accept all this stuff. After packing up, Lu Xiaoran finally remembered his casually taken disciple. Let me go check on Yin Ligay. This kid is training way too hard, right? 7 days and 7 nights of cultivation to reach the great perfection of the 10th layer of the Xiantian realm. He's not going to drop dead, is he? With that thought, Lu Xiaoran quickly walked out of his alchemy room and headed to where Yin Ligay was staying. From a distance, he saw Yin Ligay sitting cross-legged on a large boulder. He looked like a small black hole vortex, continuously absorbing the surrounding heaven and earth spiritual energy into his body at a speed so frightening it was jaw-dropping. Yin Ligay's absorption of spiritual energy grew faster and faster. Finally, when the speed reached a critical point, a popping sound suddenly came from Yin Ligay's dantian. This marked Yin Ligay's official breakthrough into the first layer of the Grandmaster realm. Broke through again? Lu Xiaoran was speechless. At that moment, Yin Ligay also opened his eyes. 2 sharp beams of light burst out like cold rays, startling to the soul. Upon seeing his master, Yin Ligay was overjoyed. He immediately jumped down from the giant rock, came to Lu Xiaoran's side, knelt down and bowed. Master, your great kindness and virtue will be forever remembered in Ligay's heart. These were Yin Ligay's true words. Before meeting Lu Xiaoran, although he had the dream of revenge, he also knew it was nearly impossible. All his meridians were severed. Even if repaired, he could never have the talent he once had, let alone catch up with that person's pace. But now, after becoming Lu Xiaoran's disciple, not only could he practice again, but he had also returned to the Grandmaster realm in such a short time. This was a kindness so great that even a rebirth favor could not compare. Lu Xiaoran patted his shoulder and gave a light cough, then said, "No need for such courtesy. This is all your own effort." Yin Ligay said earnestly, "No, this is the favor of rebirth given to me by my master. Get up. It's enough that you think this way." "Yes." Yin Ligay stood up. Lu Xiaoran glanced at him, and then understood why he had broken through to the Grandmaster realm in such a short time. Yun Ligay was originally at the Grandmaster realm. Although his meridians had been severed and his dantian shattered, the foundation of his Grandmaster status remained. That was why he was able to recover to the first level of the Grandmaster realm in such a short time. Otherwise, even with an Emperor-level cultivation technique, he wouldn't have been able to reach the first level of the Grandmaster realm in such a short time at most. He would have merely broken through to the innate realm. However, his cultivation speed should slow down significantly from now on. First, because he no longer has that foundational support. Second, although Emperor-level techniques are extremely powerful, allowing rapid progress in the early stages, later advancement also depends on personal aptitude. An Emperor-level technique isn't a god, it merely provides a platform. Whether one can ultimately reach that stage requires effort, luck, talent, and more, none of which can be lacking. He took out several bottles of qi-nourishing pills from his storage ring, totaling over 1,000 pills, and tossed them to Yun Ligay. Use these pills to assist your cultivation. Yun Ligay couldn't help but inhale sharply. These are actually qi-nourishing pills, and there are over 1,000 of them. Master is indeed an extraordinary expert. You have to understand that in his entire life, he had only ever taken one vitality pill, which his father had managed to snatch from someone else at great cost in the Jiang City auction house. That time, the Yin family had spent nearly half a month's expenses. Moreover, the purity of that single vitality pill was far inferior to these. His master, however, casually took out so many pure vitality pills, it was simply unimaginable to Yun Ligay. But thinking that his master didn't even care about an emperor-grade technique, Yun Ligay felt that this kind of show of power seemed acceptable. After giving out the pills, Lu Xiaoran spoke again. Skill is not about depth, but precision. Breaking through from body tempering to acquired, innate, and reaching the Grandmaster realm in one go relies on your previous accumulated foundation and the power of an Emperor-grade peak technique. But you must not be too eager to advance, because the subsequent realms spirit, mountain and sea, divine refining, return of void, creation, breaking illusion, crossing Li, king, emperor, saint, and deity require not just cultivation, but also breakthroughs in the spiritual dimension to cooperate. Otherwise, even a slight misstep could easily lead to a deviation. Yes, master, your disciple obeys. I also need to build a dwelling for myself. Lu Xiaoran nodded. In that case, choose a place and build your own dwelling. I need to repair the formation on Stillwater Peak. With that, Lu Xiaoran turned and left. Yun Ligay quickly spoke up. Master, your disciple can help you. You're not qualified yet. Lu Xiaoran left these 5 words coldly, causing Yun Ligay's face to twitch violently, and he could only force a wry smile. Thinking about it, his master was such an exalted figure with his meager skills. How could he possibly be of any help with the formation? But in just a moment, Yun Ligay's mood recovered. His eyes became resolute and radiant once more. Without my master, I would never have been able to avenge myself. But now, with my master's guidance, I have absolute confidence in seeking vengeance. However, master's words make a lot of sense. That bastard's luck is extraordinary. Before my strength reaches a sufficient level, I must not recklessly deal with him, or else I might still be killed in return. I need to keep a low profile and cultivate diligently. Once my cultivation is strong enough, I will surely slay him. Set a small goal first. Catch up with master's pace within 10 years. Lu Xiaoran, of course, had no idea about Yun Ligay's thoughts. The reason he said Yun Ligay wasn't qualified was that he was preparing to set up the newly acquired Earth-level Supreme grade formation. His previous formations were at most Earth level. The hierarchy of formations, pills, magical artifacts, and the like, from low to high, is yellow, profound, earth, heaven, saint, and emperor. Each level is further divided into 4 sublevels: supreme, upper, middle, and lower. Previously, the defensive formation of Stillwater Peak was composed of 8 Earth-level Supreme grade formations, which was equivalent to a Heaven-level upper grade formation. This formation was more than enough to defend against the reality-breaking realm. But Lu Xiaoran was still a bit uneasy. After all, a golden finger-like person had appeared in his world, the one who defeated Yun Ligay. As for those legendary children of fortune, Lu Xiaoran dared not take them lightly. Therefore, the Emperor-level formation must be set up. Setting up the Qian, Kuan, Kan, and Li positions one by one. Spirit stones were placed to construct the foundation of the entire formation. Then, Lu Xiaoran formed hand seals. 8 trigrams seal heaven formation activate. With a command, the formation was suddenly activated. In an instant, winds surged and clouds churned. The sky darkened, thunderclouds gathered, and fierce winds and thunder erupted. Rumbling. The spiritual energy on the earth seemed to be summoned by an unknown force, rushing frantically from all directions towards the heavenly demon sect. This scene immediately alarmed the various high-ranking elders of the heavenly demon sect. Everyone soared out from their respective chambers, gazing into the sky, their hearts trembling with shock. Heavenly might? How could our heavenly demon sect provoke the descent of heavenly might? Who's behind all this? Could it be the supreme elder of our heavenly demon sect? That's right, it must be the supreme elder making a breakthrough. Apart from him, no one else would have such ability. As soon as the words fell, a majestic aura erupted from the depths of the heavenly demon sect. Almost at the same moment the aura appeared, a figure also flew over rapidly. Greetings, Supreme Elder. All the high-ranking members of the heavenly demon sect immediately bowed in salute. The Supreme Elder of the heavenly demon sect, looking puzzled and shocked, asked, "Just who triggered this heavenly might?" The crowd froze, then asked with disbelief, "Elder, didn't you trigger this heavenly might?" The Supreme Elder shook his head repeatedly. "How could I possibly trigger such heavenly might? My cultivation is only at the reality-breaking realm, far from qualifying to summon heavenly might." A collective gasp escaped the crowd as a chill ran down their spines. It wasn't the heavenly demon sect's supreme elder who triggered the heavenly might. Then who could it be? There was actually such a peerless powerhouse hidden within the heavenly demon sect. How had they never known? In truth, it wasn't their fault for being unaware. The 8 trigrams heaven sealing formation itself was an Emperor-grade supreme formation, though Lu Xiaoran had confined it to Jishui Peak. Its pressure could easily blanket the entire heavenly demon sect. Hence, even if everyone racked their brains, they could not find the exact location of the 8 trigrams heaven sealing array. Lu Xiaoran was also somewhat surprised. He never imagined that an Emperor-grade ultimate formation could actually evoke the might of heaven. It seemed that even heaven did not allow such a formation to be easily completed, so it continuously sent down the oppressive might of heaven, attempting to damage the grand formation. But the 8 trigrams heaven sealing array refused to yield even an inch, unleashing its own pressure, gathering the power of the earth to resist the might of heaven. The two clashed, darkening the heavens and the earth. All living beings in this moment seemed to become ants, spectators who could only look up at their battle without being able to intervene in the slightest. In the end, the heavenly might's thunderclouds let out an earth-shattering roar and slowly dissipated. The 8 trigrams heaven sealing array, in the posture of an Emperor-grade formation, repelled the might of heaven. This greatly shocked Lu Xiaoran. This was just a formation, yet because it had reached the Emperor grade, it had already developed a will to resist heaven. How terrifying would a true great emperor be then? At this moment, Lu Xiaoran suddenly thought of taking on a few more disciples to reach that legendary emperor realm sooner. Unfortunately, disciples aren't something you can just have whenever you want. It's all about luck. Well, no use rushing. Better go practice the Azure Emperor's longevity art first. Lu Xiaoran shook his head and erected a stone tablet at the border of Stillwater Peak. Forbidden ground of Stillwater Peak. No entry, danger to life. Then he turned back to his room to go into seclusion. He didn't bother setting up another top-grade Emperor-level formation, the Violet Thunder Divine Array. An Emperor-level formation was already formidable enough, able to withstand many attacks from Emperor-level experts. 1/8 trigrams Seal Heaven Array was enough to protect Stillwater Peak. Besides, the Violet Thunder Divine Array was extremely dangerous once triggered. All living beings within it would be destroyed by divine thunder. Its killing intent was too heavy, unsuitable for setting up at his own base. Of course, the most important reason was the Spirit Stones. Wansai's gift pack didn't yield a single Spirit Stone, and setting up an Emperor-grade grand formation consumed a huge amount. The 8 trigram Heaven Sealing Array had already drained all of Lu Xiaoran's stockpile from the past 10 years. One cannot make bricks without straw. Even with an Emperor-grade formation, Lu Xiaoran was powerless. After returning to his own room, Lu Xiaoran set up a seal and directly announced seclusion to practice his techniques. The Azure Emperor's longevity art is a very powerful Emperor-grade technique. In combat, its power is profound and pure with an endless output. Every strike can maximize the lethality of the attack. In terms of replenishment, its speed of absorbing spiritual energy is only stronger, not weaker, than techniques of the same rank, if not the best. Moreover, it has an extremely prominent, special, and powerful effect. It can quickly repair damage to the body. Know that only those with the strength of the Emperor realm can suffer severe physical injuries without dying, and then use their techniques to heal and regrow their bodies. And now, after cultivating the Azure Emperor's longevity art, Lu Xiaoran himself has gained the means to recover his body. It took him a total of 3 days to cultivate the Qingdi longevity scripture to the great perfection realm. This speed was quite terrifying. It must be noted that Yun Ligay, who is currently practicing the primordial emperor scripture, had only cultivated about 1/10 of it and had not yet fully mastered the primordial emperor scripture. Yet Lu Xiaoran had grasped the great perfection of the Qingdi longevity scripture in just 3 days. After that, he cultivated the Qingdi longevity scripture for a full month. Time flew by. Finally, after enduring a full month of arduous cultivation, Lu Xiaoran's cultivation base broke through another realm. He awoke from his cultivation, his eyes not showing the slightest sign of fatigue, but instead full of vitality and energy. This Qingdi longevity scripture is truly formidable. If it were a heaven-grade technique from the demon sect, with my strength having just broken through to the breaking illusion realm, it would take at least half a year to break through again. Yet now I have broken through to the second layer of the breaking illusion realm. This cultivation speed is truly heaven-defying. It must be known that the stronger one's cultivation, the more difficult it is to break through. Even though Lu Xiaoran was an exceptional genius who could quickly comprehend techniques, he could not change the heavenly principle that cultivation must proceed step by step. But the Emperor-level cultivation technique shortened his time by about 6 times, its sheer terror inspiring awe. However, before he could even savor the sense of achievement from his hard-earned breakthrough, a pop sound came from his dantian the next moment. He broke through again, reaching the 3rd level of the realm of breaking illusions. Lu Xiaoran was dumbfounded. What was going on? How had he broken through again in just an instant? But soon he figured something out. Wonkai, coming. Master, I'm here. Pull up Yun Ligay's info panel. Yes, generating Yun Ligay's info panel. Name, Yun Ligay. Gender, male. Cultivation technique, mixed origin emperor scripture, cultivated to the 2nd layer. Cultivation base, Grandmaster realm, 10th level, peak great perfection. As expected, I knew it. Lu Xiaoran was speechless. He had worked hard for a whole month just to break through to the 2nd level of the realm of breaking illusions, and yet Yun Ligay had contributed another layer of cultivation to him. Wonkai, if you keep this up, I'll gradually lose my motivation to cultivate. Master, after binding with me, you don't need to cultivate at all, just taking disciples is enough. Lu Xiaoran rubbed his temples and said helplessly, "You're depriving me of my happiness like this." Wonkai detected an SS grade talent disciple. Should we recruit? Chapter 7, The Great Zhou Princess. Then, Master, you don't have to be happy. Happiness is a trivial matter. Teaching and nurturing talents is the major issue. To cultivate higher quality talents, my personal happiness should be set aside. Wonkai, where is this SS grade disciple? At the Zening Prince Mansion in Great Zhou. Wonkai, that's too far. I'm not going. The journey is long and perilous. What if I encounter trouble or a powerful enemy that kills me on the way? If Master doesn't want to go, I can send a soul attraction for an SS grade disciple. Once the soul attraction is activated, she will be drawn to the Heaven Demon sect, and then Master can recruit her. Then activate the soul attraction. Okay, Master. A few days later, 100 li away from the Heaven Demon sect, 2 graceful figures flew swiftly like streaks of light. Princess Wuxia, please slow down. We're not far from the Heaven Demon sect. But this did not make the others slow down. Nanny Li, I can't stop. There's a voice telling me I must go to the demon sect. There, a chance to change my fate awaits. Missing this opportunity would be the regret of my life. Nanny Li sighed softly a hint of sympathy involuntarily showing in her eyes. As an illegitimate daughter of the prince's mansion, Ji Wuxia worked 100 times harder than any prince or princess there. To live up to her status as a commandery princess, she never stopped working hard. Her efforts eventually paid off, and she gradually gained recognition from the people in the mansion. If things had continued like this step by step, one day she would have shed her ugly duckling appearance and become a true princess of the Zening prince's mansion of the Great Zhou. But the appearance of that incident instantly shattered all her efforts. Overnight, she became the laughingstock of the entire mansion. But she was not defeated. Instead, she worked even harder. Every day, aside from eating, she cultivated, and cultivated some more. Even a man might not be able to achieve this, let alone someone with her delicate female frame. She didn't need to be so desperate. Even if the entire mansion mocked her, she was still the daughter of the Zening prince. Countless outstanding young men in Great Zhou still wanted her, but she still fought. She was fighting for her own pride. The two advanced swiftly and soon arrived at the demon sect. Due to their strength, they didn't pause at the mountain gate, but flew directly over it and entered the demon sect. They didn't announce themselves to the demon sect. Although as the princess of Great Zhou, the entire demon sect would surely receive her with utmost respect, Wu Xiao was afraid that making such a fuss would provoke that senior. Since he was able to convey his conviction to her from thousands of miles away, he must not want anyone to know about this. Miss, the demon sect has so many peaks, do you know which one it is? Wu Xiao closed her eyes and quietly listened to the inner voice. Finally, she opened her eyes and flew in one direction. The old nursemaid followed closely behind. They soon arrived at Stillwater Peak. Stillwater Peak? The old nursemaid frowned slightly. Before coming, this old woman investigated the heavenly demon sect. Jishui Peak is an extremely ordinary one among the 320 peaks. Not only that, but the peak master, Lu Xiaoran, is also just an ordinary cultivator, perhaps not even as skilled as you, princess. But Ji Wuxia said firmly, "This is it. It must be here. I can feel that the person calling me is on this mountain." "All right then. Since that's the case, this old woman will accompany you, miss." After all, with her cultivation, protecting the princess was not a problem. The two could sense that Jishui Peak was protected by a formation, so they did not fly over it from above. Although they were not afraid of the heavenly demon sect, it was not worth provoking trouble. As soon as they landed, they noticed the inscription Lu Xiaoran had set up. Forbidden area of Jishui Peak. No entry. Danger to life. Reading it softly, Nanny Li couldn't help but shake her head and chuckle. This peak master of Jishui Peak has quite an arrogant tone. Such a small peak dares to make such bold claims. Perhaps Master Lu set it up for the disciples of the heavenly demon sect. Ji Wuxia spoke calmly, and Aunt Li put away her smile. That's true. Even if this peak master Lu has the worst cultivation in the demon sect, he's still somewhat of a figure. For the disciples of the demon sect, he's not someone to be trifled with. But for people at our level, his ban is nothing but a joke. Ji Wuxia nodded, but still spoke up. That said, we are still trespassing on someone else's territory. Aunt Li, remember not to harm anyone, and certainly not to use my status as the princess of Zening Manor to bully others or take their things by force. Aunt Li gave a helpless smile. I understand, my little princess. But deep down, she felt admiration. Although Ji Wuxia pursued power, she had a good nature. She wouldn't bully others or oppress the innocent for her own gain. That was rare for someone of such high status and strength. Ji Wuxia stepped into the formation first, with Aunt Li following closely behind. The moment they stepped into the formation, Lu Xiaoran sensed it immediately. The 8 trigrams heaven-sealing array was controlled by his will, naturally becoming one with him. Oh, someone actually came to us. Wang Kai, this soul-tracing ability of yours is pretty handy like a walkie-talkie. Give me her profile, so I can see who she really is. Coming right up. Wang Kai immediately generated a file for Lu Xiaoran to look up. Ji Wuxia, peak spiritual realm cultivation, illegitimate daughter of the Zening Prince's mansion in the Great Zhou. When she was young, she was abandoned among commoners and betrothed to a young man. Later, the Zening Prince found her, causing a drastic change in her status. The Zening Prince's mansion forced Ji Wuxia to annul the engagement. Unexpectedly, 3 years later, that young man came to challenge her. He defeated Ji Wuxia, making her a laughingstock in the mansion. Why does this story feel so familiar again? Wang Kai, she is a villain again? Isnt she? Please be a human for once. Can't you find me a child of fortune? Master, every child of fortune is proud and born with a rebellious spirit. They cannot long stay subordinate to others. Even if taken into your sect, one day they will surely rise above you. Are you willing to be a dog? Then you be the dog. It would be better to kill Lu Xiaoran outright than to make him a dog for those brainless, cheat-reliant, self-righteous protagonists who are controlled by their loins and can't even walk straight at the sight of a woman. Ji Wuxia and old Madame Li stepped into the formation, only to find no external interference, no traps, no attacking formations, and not even a hint of danger from their warrior's sixth sense. They couldn't help but feel speechless at Lu Xiaoran's steel inscription. I originally thought the master of Jishui Peak would set up at least 1 or 2 formations. Now it seems I overestimated him. Ji Wuxia said with a faint smile, Mama, this place is different from our manor. The demon sect is very small and short on resources. There's no need to build any separate formations within the sect. That's true. After a while, the two gradually sensed something was off. They were indeed walking, and the scenery around them was slowly receding. But with their pace, they should have reached the peak by now. Yet the reality was that they were still at the foot of the mountain. Princess, something's wrong. Old Madame Li, whose cultivation had reached the creation realm, was the first to notice the anomaly. Chapter 8. My Territory, My Rules. Hearing old Madame Li's words, Ji Wuxia's heart jolted, and she too felt something was off. It really seemed that way. We still seemed to be at the foot of the mountain, but the problem was that I had just been unable to perceive it, as if everything felt normal. The two exchanged a glance, and both had the same thought. They were trapped in a formation. After a moment, old Madame Li's eyes were filled with seriousness. According to common sense, such a simple situation, even an ordinary person could see through at a glance. Yet I actually spent half a day to understand the mysteries. Not only that, the princess only noticed it after my prompting. This place not only confuses the heart, but also affects one's mental strength and thoughts. What a powerful illusion formation. Ji Wuxia's expression was also equally grave. It seems we have underestimated this peak master of Jishui Peak. But this also proves that Stillwater Peak may indeed hide great opportunities. That's right. Old Madame Li nodded and then said, Princess, step aside. Let me launch an attack to break this illusion formation. All right. Ji Wuxia stepped aside. Aunt Li let out a soft shout and began to circulate her technique. In an instant, the surrounding spiritual energy stirred violently as she madly absorbed it into her body. Then, with another soft shout, she struck out with a single palm. Mountain-crushing palm. As the palm struck, a gale like a dragon tore through the surrounding air, emitting a piercing howl that nearly burst eardrums. If this palm strike were to land on the ground, without much estimation, it would surely shatter the ground and the rocks within 100 meters. However, when the palm force landed, there was not the slightest effect. It was as if it had silently merged into the air, as though the palm had never been released at all. What? Both of their pupils contracted. A chill shot from the soles of their feet straight to the crowns of their heads. This is an illusion array? This might have already surpassed the scope of illusion arrays. Even attacks can be directly nullified. In truth, the 8 trigrams heaven sealing array was indeed not an illusion array. It gathered the power of the 8 trigrams to evolve earth, water, wind, and fire. Any living being that entered it would be directly sealed in place. Whether moving or attacking, everything would be sealed within this small world. Without enough strength to surpass the formation, there is no way to escape. Nanny Lee wiped the cold sweat from her forehead and forced herself to calm down. Don't be afraid, princess. No matter how strong this formation is, it's still just a formation of the heavenly demon sect. The strongest in the heavenly demon sect is only at the realm of breaking illusions. How can they compare with our esteemed Prince Xening's mansion of the Great Zhou? This old servant will surely break this formation. Go for it, Nanny. After a while, Nanny Li's face had turned as pale as wax. Ji Wuxia also looked utterly despairing. Nothing works, no matter whether it was attacking or escaping. Even though Nanny Li used the escape secret technique of Prince Xening's mansion, they still could not get out of this formation. Even more terrifying She tried to use a secret treasure gifted by her father to send a message, begging him to come to their rescue. But she couldn't even do that. They were completely trapped and doomed in this small world. If they had known this formation was so terrifying, even with 10 times the courage, they wouldn't have dared to barge in so casually. Just as they were in despair, a strange voice suddenly drifted down from the mountain. Had enough fun? The two were startled and looked up toward the voice, only to see Lu Xiaoran walking against the wind with his hands clasped behind his back. What? The two trembled, their eyes filled with deep shock and vigilance. This formation was so powerful that even Granny Li, a master of the creation realm, couldn't break it, yet Lu Xiaoran could walk freely through it. Princess, be careful. This man has an extremely strong cultivation, Granny Li said, shielding Ji Wuxia behind her as Lu Xiaoran came to a stop before them. What do you want? Lu Xiaoran glanced at her, then fixed his gaze on Ji Wuxia behind her. You come to my territory and ask me what I want. Don't act rashly. We only stumbled in here by accident, and we're from the Purple Peace Prince's mansion of Great Zhou. If you dare harm even a hair on us, the consequences will be too much for you to bear. Granny Li shouted angrily. Lu Xiaoran frowned, and with a sharp smack, he directly slapped her across the face. Old Mammy Li shouted angrily. Lu Xiaoran frowned and, with a loud crack, slapped her across the face. Bam! The immense palm force sent old Madam Li flying, slamming her fiercely into the boulder not far away, shattering it into pieces. Lu Xiaoran hated dawdling. If a single slap could settle a matter, he wouldn't waste an extra word. Old Madam Li, Ji Wuxia, cried out in alarm, immediately cupping her hands toward Lu Xiaoran and saying, Senior, we have offended you greatly. Please be magnanimous. I am willing to offer compensation. Lu Xiaoran's expression was calm. This girl has a good temper, but he needed to show off a bit to let her know his prowess. Otherwise, she might not be willing to take him as her master later. Make your move. Ah. Ji Wuxia was startled, somewhat confused. Lu Xiaoran's voice came again. I said make your move, or I'll kill you. Then this junior will have to take offense. Ji Wuxia hesitated for a moment, gritted her teeth, and took out a heaven-grade mid-rank treasured sword. With a flash of cold light, she prepared to stab at Lu Xiaoran. However, Lu Xiaoran easily caught the tip of her sword with just 2 fingers. This move was naturally within Ji Wuxia's expectations. Since Lu Xiaoran could instantly defeat Nanny Li, an expert at the creation realm, my mere spirit realm naturally couldn't easily harm him. Therefore, the moment Lu Xiaoran caught the tip of her sword, Ji Wuxia suddenly took out a pill engraved with azure runes from her storage pouch. Huh! She crushed the pill, and a trace of electric arc appeared, instantly triggering a burst of thunder and lightning all around. Within 100 meters, thunder and lightning filled the air, the roaring sound like the screeching of a flock of birds. This was a protective treasure that only the princes and princesses of the Zening Prince's mansion possessed, an upper-grade heaven-rank thunderclap pill. Once crushed, it would unleash a force comparable to a full-powered strike at the peak of the Canli realm within 100 meters. This blow should be enough to deal fatal damage to Lu Xiaoran, right? However, before the lightning had even dissipated, Ji Wuxia heard that nightmare-like voice again. TSK, TSK, an upper-grade heaven-rank thunderclap pill truly worthy of a princess of the Zening Prince's mansion, striking with such a grand gesture. What? Ji Wuxia's pupils contracted, and every hair on her body stood on end. This? How is this possible? Even a thunderclap pill couldn't harm him. Who exactly is this person? ISNT this, the heavenly demon sect? ISNT the strongest in the heavenly demon sect only at the reality-breaking realm? He actually resisted a thunderclap pill, which is comparable to a full-force strike from the peak of the Transcendence realm. In reality, within this formation, unless one possesses the power to break it, it's pure fantasy to think of hurting Lu Xiaoran. After a moment, the lightning completely dissipated, and Lu Xiaoran's figure reappeared before her eyes. Completely unharmed, not even a corner of his clothing was damaged. Ji Wuxia was utterly broken. The next second, before she could react, Lu Xiaoran bent his middle finger and flicked her on her little head. My turn. Bang! The immense force struck her head, causing Ji Wuxia's eyes to roll back as she fainted on the spot. Lu Shaoran paused, somewhat embarrassed, and rubbed his nose. Having just broken through 2 realms in a row, his strength had increased too much, and he momentarily couldn't control the force. After a brief pause, he shook his head again. Forget it. Anyway, I can't have her become my disciple within this formation. I'll take her back first. With that, Lu Shaoran wrapped one arm around Ji Wuxia's waist, ready to leave. He glanced at Granny Li not far away, reached out with his other hand, grabbed her by the shoulder, and flew toward the mountain. Chapter 9. The bet Lu Shaoran quickly brought the two to the mountaintop. Yin Legay had just finished his cultivation practice and stepped out of his room when he saw his master holding a young beauty with one arm and carrying an old granny with the other. A strange expression crossed his face. Could his master have such a hobby? This was too inhumane, truly unworthy of a gentleman. But since it was his master, who had been kind to him, he refrained from further comment. Disciple greets master. Yin Legay bowed respectfully. Lu Shaoran nodded. Perfect timing. This old woman is yours to handle. Ah, master, I can't do it. Nothing you can't do. Master believes in you. With that, Lu Shaoran tossed old Madam Li before Yun Yunj, then entered his own room with Ji Wuxia. Yun Yunj stared at the old matron before him, his face darkening to its limit. Such base acts against women were already beneath him, and yet to make matters worse his master had given him one this old. With her wrinkled face, just one glance made him want to vomit, let alone rise up and conquer her. Heavens, he'd probably have nightmares for life. But suddenly, Yin Yunj slapped himself. Yin Yunj, how can you think like that? Your master is your benefactor. He gave you an imperial-level technique, letting you enter the path of cultivation. Now he only asks you to conquer one old matron, and you're already dragging your feet? Are you even human? Don't you appreciate his care for your cultivation? Besides, she's just a little old. Once the lights are off and her face is covered, it's all the same. Then he walked over to old Madam Li and took a look at that aged face. I can't take this. Heaven knows Lu Shaoran had no intention of making him do, that he simply wanted Yun Legay to keep an eye on old nursemaid Li. Now he returned to his room and gave Ji Wuxia a pill, quickly bringing her back to consciousness. Ji Wuxia staggered and opened her eyes, seeing Lu Shaoran's face so close to hers. Her heartbeat involuntarily quickened. Handsome men are a dime a dozen, but exceptionally good-looking ones are 1 in 10,000. However, Ji Wuxia was dazed for less than a second before she snapped back to reality. This man was not just good-looking, he was also an extremely dangerous figure. Thinking this, Ji Wuxia quickly got up and knelt before Lu Shaoran. Ji Wuxia intrudes upon the senior's territory. Please calm your anger, senior. Lu Shaoran glanced at her and spoke casually. At least you have some sense, not shouting and yelling at me just because of your status. Ji Wuxia's face flushed slightly. Your junior, wanted to improve my strength, but had no way. So, in desperation, I came to explore Jishui Peak. Now that I have disturbed you, senior, I am at your mercy. Then just kill yourself. Ji Wuxia's eyes widened. She hadn't expected Lu Shaoran to make such a demand. What? Afraid to kill yourself? Then why the hell are you talking about punishment? Ji Wuxia's delicate body trembled. Since he knew her identity and still dared to make such a request, he must not fear the Zening Prince's mansion. It seemed she had really messed up big time this time. Ji Wuxia was filled with regret, but she didn't blame Lu Shaoran because she was the one who had trespassed on his territory. But from now on, she could no longer strive to pursue the Tao she desired. Senior, is there really no way for me, your junior, to make amends? Lu Shaoran did not answer, he just looked at her coldly. Earlier, in the formation, he had tested her abilities. Now he wanted to see how much courage this little girl had. Seeing that he remained silent, Ji Wuxia knew she had no other option. She couldn't resist, the other party was too strong. Ji Wuxia clenched her fists tightly, her eyes struggling for a long time before she finally drew a short sword from her storage pouch. She had no choice if death was inevitable either way. At least she could beg for a path of survival for old Madam Li. After all, it was ultimately she who had dragged her into this sea of fire. Senior, this junior acted rashly, chasing a stroke of fortune and trespassing into your domain. I deserve punishment, but old Madam Li came only to escort me. She should not be blamed. If my death is needed to quell your anger, then this junior is willing to take her own life, begging only that you spare old Madam Li. Biting her silver teeth, Ji Wuxia gripped the hilt of the short sword with both hands and plunged it into her dantian. But the blade had barely cut an inch into her abdomen, blood just beginning to gush forth, when Lu Xiaoran's voice sounded again. "All right, you passed." Ji Wuxia was stunned, staring blankly at Lu Xiaoran, unable to grasp what he meant. Lu Xiaoran continued to speak. "I just wanted to see if your apology was genuine or just a pretense. Didn't you come here seeking an opportunity? Your opportunity is right before you. It is to become my disciple." Ji Wuxia was even more bewildered, her face full of confusion. Why would she suddenly have to become his disciple? Seeing her blank expression as she tried to act cute, Lu Xiaoran shook his head helplessly. "You came to the Heavenly Demon sect precisely to seek an opportunity to improve yourself and stand against your former fiancé to wash away your shame. Only by becoming my disciple will you have a chance to get rid of him. Otherwise, even if you obtain the inheritance of a great emperor, you still wouldn't be able to touch him." Believe it or not, Ji Wuxia's heart suddenly began to pound wildly. Not many knew about her desire to wash away her shame, though some could guess it. But Lu Xiaoran was in the Heavenly Demon sect. How could he know? Moreover, Lu Xiaoran's words were too exaggerated. He even dared to mention a great emperor's inheritance and claimed that even if she obtained it, she still couldn't wash away her shame. You should know that obtaining the inheritance of a great emperor would make one at least a quasi-emperor, if not a great emperor in the future. Lu Xiaoran waved his hand, signaling her not to be shocked, and continued. "Anyway, I've said what I needed to say. You only have two paths to choose. After a lifetime of hard work, you watch your fiancé who humiliated you, your ex-fiancé, grow stronger and stronger until he is someone you can only look up to. In the end, you are left depressed and regretful, even regretting breaking off the engagement with him. Second, become my disciple, and I'll give you the chance to destroy him. I'm not a patient man. You have 10 breaths to decide. The countdown starts now." Ji Wuxia was a bit speechless. He seemed certain that man would become powerful in the future, so powerful that she'd be left heartbroken and helpless. Although she didn't know what made Lu Xiaoran so confident in saying that. Still, she was well aware that she wasn't the most favored in the Zening King's mansion, so she'd never have access to the best cultivation techniques there. That technique was a holy grade, mid-tier method, her greatest hope and also her greatest despair. That was precisely why she had come to the demon sect to seek a chance. At the moment, all signs pointed to the fact that the Lu Xiaoran standing before her was no ordinary person. What he said might sound absurd, yet perhaps he could help her break through to the next level. Who knew? This is a bet. In the Great Zhou, even across the entire continent, once you take a master, it's for life. Unless the other party is some deranged and depraved heretic, a disciple can never dissolve the master-disciple relationship. Moreover, a person cannot have too many masters. To seek another master, one must first obtain the previous master's consent. Forcefully severing the master-disciple bond would invite the mockery of everyone. In the world of martial arts, the status of a master is transcendent. If Ji Wuxia agrees to become Lu Xiaoran's disciple, but he cannot give her what she wants, she will suffer a great loss. If Ji Wuxia refuses, she would likely just slink back to the Zening Manor. However, Lu Xiaoran's wondrous abilities made it hard for her to easily give up. After a brief silence, Ji Wuxia finally made up her mind. She took a deep breath and said with a solemn gaze, "I'm willing to take you as my master." Lu Xiaoran's strength was above the creation realm, even placed within the manor. His power was formidable. Moreover, being able to set up such an extremely powerful formation proved he was no ordinary person. Moreover, he was thoroughly familiar with her information. Ji Wuxia was willing to take a gamble on that. Ding! Congratulations, Master, on gaining an SS grade disciple. Reward: Emperor grade top-tier cultivation technique, True Phoenix 9 transformations. Reward: top-tier Emperor weapon, Phoenix perching on parasol tree seal. Lu Xiaoran smacked his lips. He glanced over them. All good stuff. Unfortunately, True Phoenix 9 transformations could only be practiced by women, so he couldn't cultivate it himself. He could only let Ji Wuxia train in it. If he were to cultivate it himself, his speed would definitely be faster than Ji Wuxia's. After all, no one could match his own talent. Forget it. He'd just continue lying back and winning. All right, Since you're willing to take me as your master, from today on, you are my second disciple. Ji Wuxiao was taken aback. You only have 2 disciples? Lu Xiaoran nodded. That's right. You have a senior fellow apprentice named Yun Ligay. Ji Wuxia didn't speak, but her expression turned slightly off. As a dignified peak master of the demon sect, he only had 2 disciples, including herself. With such low prestige, could he really teach anyone well? She suddenly began to regret her rashness. Seeing her thoughts, Lu Xiaoran smiled slightly. Disciples are not about quantity, but quality. Every one of my disciples is 1 in 10,000. I would not accept anyone without the potential to become an emperor. Yavuxias mont tvichet. There he goes again. Lu Xiaoran could tell from her expression that she didn't believe him. He didn't bother to explain further, words were useless, so he directly pointed a finger in the void and infused the true Phoenix 9 transformations into Ji Wuxia's brow. This is the cultivation technique I've chosen for you, master. As the technique entered her spiritual mind, Ji Wuxia glanced at it casually, muttering inwardly, I hope it's not just a heaven-grade technique. She herself already practiced a heaven-grade technique. In fact, she had several. As a princess of the Zening Manor, she never lacked such things. But when she clearly saw the grade of the true Phoenix 9 transformations, her beautiful eyes widened as if she had seen a ghost. Emperor grade, supreme quality. My God, am I dreaming? As the most top-tier cultivation technique on the entire continent, an Emperor grade technique was as rare as phoenix feathers and unicorn horns. Every Emperor-level technique can stir up a bloody storm across the entire continent. In her lifetime, she never dared to hope for an Emperor-level technique at most. She would only dare to think about the holy grade mid-level technique passed down through the Zening Princess Mansion. Yet Lu Xiaoran casually gave her a top-grade Emperor-level technique, shattering her worldview and leaving her unable to even dare to imagine it. Lu Xiaoran watched his cheap disciple's expression from the side, feeling immensely pleased. You were doubting me just now, but now you know how impressive your master is, right? Before he could wait for Ji Wuxia to thank him, a violent explosion suddenly rang out from outside. Bastard, I'll kill you. Master, save me. Hearing this, Lu Xiaoran frowned and vanished from his spot, reappearing outside in an instant. At that moment, Granny Li struck like lightning with ferocious force, charging at Yun Ligay like an enraged, vengeful night hag. She was a creation realm expert, while Yun Ligay was merely at the Grandmaster realm, 10th layer grade perfection. The gap in strength between them was too vast. She could kill Yun Ligay with a single move. Lu Xiaoran narrowed his eyes, his body moving with his mind, and in an instant he was between the two. How could he let her kill Yun Ligay? This was his precious cash cow disciple. Stop! Lu Xiaoran bellowed. The Hunyuan Emperor Sutra circulated, releasing a wave of pressure. Wind and clouds churned, grass and trees fell silent, and the imposing aura came in an instant. Mrs. Li, whose strength was already inferior to Lu Xiaoran's, was immediately suppressed to the ground by that unmatched aura the moment Lu Xiaoran made his move. Mrs. Li spat out a mouthful of blood, kneeling on both knees, yet her eyes were still bloodshot. What's going on? Beasts! I will kill the 2 of you, you lechers. Lechers? What lechers? Lu Xiaoran, completely baffled, looked at Yun Ligay. Yun Ligay said somewhat aggrievedly, Master, wasn't it you who told me to deal with her? I spent a long time mentally preparing, even throwing up my food from last night, before finally making up my mind to act. Who knew that just by undoing one button, she would wake up? Lu Xiaoran, I told you to watch her, not to reprimand her. Yun Ligay first looked innocent, then suddenly flushed red all the way to the tips of his ears. He had actually misinterpreted his master's intention. How embarrassing! The enraged steward, Li's murderous intent, had now reached its peak. She even began forcefully burning her own cultivation to resist Lu Xiaoran's fist intent. You pair of beastly master and disciple, even if it costs me my life, I will slay you both. But just then, Ji Wuxia's voice suddenly rang out. Steward Li, no. Steward Li's body trembled. She turned to look at Ji Wuxia with a worried expression. Your Highness, are you all right? Ji Wuxia shook her head. I'm Yufine. This matter was a misunderstanding. I am now Master Lu's disciple. What? Steward Li's pupils contracted, staring at Ji Wuxia in disbelief. Your Highness, are you joking with me? Ji Wuxia shook her head, her expression serious. I'm not joking. From today on, I am Master Lu's disciple, until the seas run dry and the rocks crumble, until the heavens fall and the earth splits apart. Nanny Li was completely stunned. Lu Xiaoran withdrew the power of the primordial emperor scripture, and Nanny Li collapsed onto the ground with a thud. Princess, why? Ji Wuxia glanced at Lu Xiaoran. Apologies, this concerns my master's secret, and I cannot reveal it casually. Princess, have you lost your mind? I haven't gone mad. Nanny Li, you have always taken care of me. Please believe in me and believe in my choice. Ji Wuxia's words were resolute, completely shattering Nanny Li's worldview. She stared fiercely at Lu Xiaoran and said coldly, It must be you. You've deceived the princess. I will return to report to Prince Xening and have him take your life. The moment the words fell, two sharp, murderous glints suddenly burst from Lu Xiaoran's eyes. However, before he could act, Ji Wuxia unexpectedly released a sword light that brushed past Nanny Li. Nanny Li was utterly dumbfounded. Princess, have you lost your mind? Ji Wuxia said with a solemn expression. I'm not crazy, nursing lady. I truly want to become his disciple myself. He is my master now, and I won't allow anyone to insult him or show him disrespect, not even you, nursing lady. Please understand. Then she turned and pleaded, Master, nursing lady raised me and has protected me all my life. Please spare her for my sake. I am willing to take the punishment for her disrespect. Lu Xiaoran narrowed his eyes slightly. Normally, anyone who threatened him wouldn't last half an hour. But this was, after all, his own disciple's first time pleading with him. Well, he might as well indulge her like a child. So he just let out a light sigh. It's fine. I'm not that petty. Thank you, Master. Ji Wuxia breathed a sigh of relief, thanked him, and quickly walked over to Nursing Lady, feeding her a pill to help heal her injuries. Nursing Lady looked somewhat dejected and self-reproachful, and whispered, Your Highness, I am old and useless, unable to save you. You must have been coerced by him, right? Is it because he wants to kill me that you are willing to stay as a hostage? Ji Wuxia shook her head. Nanny Li, please don't think that way. I truly wish to take him as my master voluntarily. Trust me, within a year, no, half a year, I should return to the Xening Manor. Then you will see a different me. Nanny Li's heart trembled. She could see the firm determination in Ji Wuxia's eyes. If she had been coerced, she wouldn't have had such an expression. Taking a deep breath, Nanny Li had no choice but to nod in agreement. Very well, since the princess insists, I will say no more. But if the prince asks when I return to the manor, I will report the truth as it is. Ji Wuxia felt a bit troubled, but this was Nanny Li's duty, so she had nothing to say. She could only let out a sigh. All right then. In that case, Nanny Li, take care on your journey. And you, Your Highness, I will take my leave now. With those words, Nanny Li did not wish to linger any longer. She quickly descended the mountain to treat her injuries. Lu Xiaoran was not afraid of her reporting to the Prince of Xening. First, with the 8 trigrams heaven sealing formation in place, very few in all of Great Zhou could break through. Second, he was taking Ji Wuxia as his disciple, not as a concubine. The Prince of Xening wouldn't come looking for a fight over that. After Granny Li left, Lu Xiaoran immediately put on his master's dignified air. All right, cultivation must not be slackened. Legay, explain the rules of the demon sect and Jishui Peak to your junior sister. Then you may each begin your training. Yes, Yin Legay responded, and Lu Xiaoran turned and walked into his own room. Yin Legay hurried over, and when he saw Ji Wuxia, he couldn't help but blush slightly. Ji Wuxia's beauty surpassed any woman he had ever seen, even his former fiancée. Once his pride for her peerless grace seemed far inferior in comparison. But she was his junior sister, a rabbit, doesn't eat the grass near its own den. Yin Legay knew his limits. After a few glances, he got down to business. Greetings, junior sister. Yun Li. Wuxia nodded. Ji Wuxia greeted the senior brother. Yin Legay scratched his head. Ahem, no need to be so formal. Actually, I only arrived a little over a month before you did. A flicker of surprise passed through Ji Wuxia's eyes. Next, Yin Legay explained the rules of the demon sect and Jishui Peak to her, and Ji Wuxia's attention was drawn to that. When she learned that the key to Jishui Peak was the word lurk, her face instantly mirrored the expression Yin Legay had shown before. But when she heard Yin Legay describe Lu Xiaoran's cheater theory, Her pupils suddenly contracted and she broke out in a cold sweat. Indeed, she had never thought that her former fiancé could defeat her. He was just a young master from a small family in Zening County. To be sure, his family was moderately wealthy, but only compared to ordinary people. To an existence like the Zening Prince's palace, he was nothing but a tiny ant. And she, backed by the Zening Prince's palace, surpassed him many times over in bloodline, talent, techniques, elixirs, and all other cultivation resources. But even so, she still lost. Defeated by him in a single battle, utterly routed. Even racking her brains, she couldn't figure out how to explain this situation. It wasn't until she heard Lu Xiaoran's theory that she felt it finally made sense. Taking a deep breath, Ji Wuxia stared at Yun Ligay and spoke. Senior brother Yun, do you believe in what the master said? Of course. A determined look appeared in Yun Ligay's eyes. Ji Wuxia asked tentatively, could it be that you, senior brother, are also? That's right. After Yun Ligay told his own story, Ji Wuxia couldn't help but shiver in fear. So there were such terrifying beings in this world. But they're just too unreasonable. Others spend a lifetime of effort, yet they can obtain it casually. What the hell? Are they even human? Heaven simply has no eyes. This is trampling on others' efforts like garbage. Yun Ligay smiled and comforted her. But you don't have to be jealous of people like that. It's true we don't have the luck and opportunities gifted by the heavens, but we have our master. Our master is also our golden ticket. Ji Wuxiao thought of Lu Xiaoran's monstrous talent and couldn't help nodding. Then she asked curiously, by the way, senior brother Yun, you arrived earlier. Do you know more about master? Could you tell me what master's cultivation level is? Yun Ligay shook his head with a bitter smile. I really don't know that, because honestly, I haven't been here that long either. And you forgot one of the rules of Jishui Peak is never to casually reveal your true cultivation level. That's true, but I can still infer a thing or two from master's actions. Master is probably not weaker than an emperor. What? Ji Wuxia's heart suddenly pounded violently. Not weaker than an emperor? What kind of concept is that? Doesn't that mean Lu Xiaoran's strength could be the top in the Great Zhou Empire, or even among the highest combat power on the entire continent? Senior brother, do you have any proof? Yun Ligay scratched his head. I'm only guessing. The first reason is that when master acts, he uses emperor-grade top-level techniques. Since you become his disciple, you must have received such a technique as well, right? Ji Wuxia nodded. True. On this point, Ji Wuxia had to admit how terrifying Lu Xiaoran was. Emperor-grade top-level techniques in the entire continent. Even if you're an emperor, how many such techniques can you possess? And he bestows them so freely upon his disciples. This casual disregard for emperor-grade top-level techniques was already beyond what ordinary people could imagine. Second point, you know the rule of Jishui Peak is to lie low. Master has clearly said we must hide our true cultivation realms and never reveal them. When your guard, the old nanny, was defeated by master without any effort, he must be at least at the creation realm or above. Moreover, he habitually hides several major realms. So aside from being above Emperor Realm, I really can't imagine what his cultivation level is. Ji Wuxia couldn't help but draw in a sharp breath. She had actually become a disciple of someone whose strength was no less than an emperor. Although this emperor was a sly old fox, he was still a real emperor. Seeing Ji Wuxia's shock, Yun Ligay didn't find it amusing. After all, he had been just as shocked as Ji Wuxia when going through the same experience.